Some life-changing moments don't arrive with sirens, warning signs, or dramatic announcements. They walk quietly into your life disguised as something ordinary. In my case, it was a birthday gift. I simply wanted to do something meaningful for my husband, David. We had been married for 12 years, and after giving him countless ties, coffee mugs, and gift cards, I wanted to create something personal. I thought a scrapbook filled with our old memories would be perfect. It felt romantic and thoughtful, the kind of present people remember forever. That rainy Saturday afternoon seemed completely normal. The soft sound of raindrops hitting the garage roof created a peaceful atmosphere. I began looking through old storage containers, searching for photographs from our early years together. I remembered our first vacation, our first home, and the countless Friday nights spent watching movies and ordering takeout from our favorite Thai restaurant. Then I saw it. A dusty, gray box hidden behind camping equipment. I had cleaned and organized that garage dozens of times, yet somehow I had never noticed it before. Looking back, it's strange how our instincts often recognize something unusual before our minds do. Something felt wrong about that box, although I couldn't explain why. I opened the lid, and my entire world changed.
At first, I smiled. I genuinely believed I had found old family photographs, but within seconds, my smile disappeared. Every photograph featured David, yet none of them included me. Instead, there was a young girl with curly brown hair and a bright smile. In one picture, she sat happily on David's shoulders. In another, she blew out birthday candles while David stood beside her. A little boy appeared in several pictures too. The children looked at him with pure affection and trust. There was no confusion about what I was seeing. These children loved him, and he loved them. I had always wanted children. David consistently explained that the timing wasn't right. There was always another reason: work pressure, financial concerns, stress, or future plans. I accepted those explanations because that's what people do in healthy marriages. They trust. Then I turned over the final photograph. Written in blue marker were words that shattered everything I believed. To the best dad in the world, we love you. I read the message repeatedly, again and again and again. My brain refused to accept reality. Surely there had to be another explanation. Perhaps they were relatives. Maybe they belonged to friends. Anything seemed more believable than the obvious truth standing directly in front of me. But sometimes truth doesn't ask for permission before changing your life.
Normally, I would have kissed him goodbye and wished him safe travels. Instead, I booked a ticket on the next flight. At the airport, I kept my distance and watched him collect his luggage. I expected him to head toward a hotel or a conference center. He didn't. He rented a car. Then he drove nearly 3 hours away from Denver. I followed him. Eventually, he reached a small town I'd never heard of before. The streets were quiet, and the houses looked ordinary. Nothing appeared unusual until David parked in the driveway of a white house. Then the front door opened. A little girl ran outside. The same girl from the photographs. She jumped into his arms. A little boy followed. Then a woman stepped onto the porch and kissed him. I couldn't breathe. I remember gripping the steering wheel as though it were the only thing keeping me grounded. My mind couldn't process what my eyes were seeing. My husband, another woman, 2 children. An entirely different life. 12 years. How do you hide something like that for 12 years? I sat inside my car and cried. Time seemed to stop. 10 minutes could have been an hour. Nothing felt real anymore. I checked into a nearby motel that night. I barely slept. The next morning, I returned and watched from a distance. David took the children to school. He bought groceries. He repaired a fence. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. I answered. A woman's voice asked, "Emily?" It was her. The woman from the house. The other wife. Then she said something that changed everything. I think we're both being lied to. The next morning, we met in a small coffee shop. Her name was Sarah. She looked exhausted, broken, confused. Exactly how I felt. She placed several documents on the table. A marriage certificate, family photographs, financial records. According to the paperwork, she had been married to David for 14 years. 14! 2 years longer than me. Neither of us knew the other existed. Sarah revealed another mystery. For months, money had been disappearing from their accounts. Thousands of dollars every month. Neither of us knew where it was going. Together, we followed bank records that eventually led us to an isolated farmhouse outside town. The place looked abandoned. Instead, we discovered hospital beds, wheelchairs, medical equipment, caregiver supplies, and photographs. Hundreds of photographs. Every single picture showed the same woman. Her name was Olivia. Then we found a letter, and suddenly, everything started making sense. Olivia had been David's fiancée long before either of us entered his life. She wasn't simply an old girlfriend. She was the love of his life, the woman he intended to marry. Then a drunk driver destroyed everything. She survived the accident but suffered severe brain injuries. She never fully recovered. For 15 years, David secretly paid for her medical care. Every treatment. The missing money wasn't supporting another hidden family. It was supporting Olivia. Yet one question remained unanswered. Why 2 marriages? Why 2 lives? When we confronted David, he didn't argue. He didn't deny anything. He sat down and cried. He explained that years earlier he had been drowning financially. Medical expenses continued growing while hope slowly disappeared. Caring for Olivia consumed his life emotionally and financially. One desperate decision became another. One lie became 10. 10 lies became multiple lives. Eventually, he no longer knew how to escape the web he had created. For the first time in 12 years, I saw genuine shame in his eyes. Then he said something I will never forget. I deserve to lose both of you. He was right. Some mistakes are accidents. Others are choices repeated so many times that they become another reality entirely. David didn't wake up one morning and decide to create unimaginable destruction. Instead, his lies expanded slowly, much like cracks forming inside a dam. At first, the damage seems manageable. Then pressure builds until everything collapses. Understanding his pain didn't erase ours. Compassion doesn't automatically repair betrayal. Love doesn't erase dishonesty. Trust cannot survive indefinitely without truth. A few weeks later, investigators uncovered something shocking. Olivia's accident had never been properly investigated. Evidence had disappeared, Witnesses had been silenced. A wealthy businessman had allegedly used influence and money to hide the truth. For years, David had secretly collected evidence. He wasn't simply paying Olivia's medical expenses. He was searching for justice. Eventually, the case reopened. The businessman was convicted. Olivia received millions in compensation. Justice arrived 15 years late. Then something extraordinary happened. 6 months later, Olivia woke up. Doctors described it as miraculous. She opened her eyes and remembered everything. She remembered David, the accident, their future, their plans. When David entered her room, she looked at him quietly. Then she asked, "Did you wait for me?" He broke down crying, because despite every terrible choice he had made, he had never stopped loving her. As for Sarah and me, neither of us stayed. Some betrayals cannot be repaired. Some trust never fully returns. But we finally regained our freedom, and David finally discovered the truth he had pursued for 15 years.
Conclusion. People sometimes ask whether I regret opening that dusty gray box. The answer is simple. No. Truth hurts. Sometimes it destroys the version of reality we thought we understood. But lies are different. Lies slowly steal years, choices, and opportunities without us even noticing. If I had never opened that storage container, I might still believe I lived inside the perfect marriage. I would still think I knew everything about the man I loved. The frightening part isn't that the secret existed. The frightening part is that it wasn't hidden particularly well. The box sat in our garage for years. The truth was always there, quietly waiting, patiently waiting, simply waiting for someone to open the lid.